Hey fantasy football fans, it's me, the Fantasy Football Girl, coming to you with another edition of Vlog Times. Before we start, I want to give everybody's favorite kicker, Mr. Sebastian Janikowski, a giant shout out. He kicked the game-winning field goal for the Raiders in overtime, giving them the win over Kansas City. While the field goal was nice, his victory dance afterwards was amazing. Maybe it was a victory leap. The big man certainly got vertical, and that was the most entertaining part of the game for someone who is neither a Kansas City Chiefs fan nor an Oakland Raider fan. Anyway, big shout outs to you, Sebastian Janikowski. Also got fantasy owners 11 points, which ain't too bad from your kicker. All right, so let's get started with a review of my start, sit, and extra from last week. Now, my start was Jordy Nelson of the Green Bay Packers. Not that great, I'm gonna admit. Kevin of the Fantasy Football Guys, his start was James Jones. I will bow down this week because Kevin certainly had it right. Jordy Nelson had 4 receptions for 42 yards, no touchdowns. James Jones, on the other hand, despite his butterfingers, had 8 receptions for 123 yards and a touchdown. So there you go, Kevin. I was not right, and you were this week. You are the fantasy football god for week 9. All right, my sit, on the other hand, was Fred Jackson. He had a measly 8 carries for 16 yards, doing not much. He did, however, have a touchdown. Still, he's averaging 7 points every fantasy game. So while he did have a touchdown, those 16 yards didn't do anything for him. So, you know, not a bad sit if you did decide to bench him. My extra, which I hope redeems me on the start, was Jacob Tamme of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, he's the backup tight end to Dallas Clark, who's out for the season, and wow, did he show up. 11 receptions for 108 yards and a touchdown. He's a keeper. If you scooped him up on the waiver wire, definitely start him, and if you didn't, and he's still available, certainly go get him. All right, so that was my start, sit, and extra. Now let's jump into bust, bombs, and bonuses for week 9. My bust in New England, now it actually wasn't the entire Patriots organization, it was Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. Everybody was talking about the law firm. He was gonna show up, he was gonna be amazing. Cleveland, this was gonna be like a rollover game. Not quite. Props as well to the Browns. You've showed up New Orleans and the Pats. Pretty impressive. Mangini looked thrilled at that Gatorade shower. Anyway, the law firm had 9 carries for 14 yards, 0 receptions, 0 touchdowns. In fact, the only 2 players in New England that showed any bit of anything really were Danny Woodhead, who I've talked about before. You gotta love his versatility both in the running game and the passing game. And Aaron Hernandez, the tight end, he had two touchdowns, 5 receptions for 48 yards. That kid is blowing up. This coming week, in week 10, the Patriots will take on the Steelers, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do against the Steelers defense. All right, moving on to my bomb this week, Darren Sproles. Now, on message boards everywhere, you know, articles, fantasy analysts everywhere were saying that he had huge sleeper potential with the wide receiving core being banged up and Antonio Gates being out in San Diego. Not the case, because Sproles in the previous weeks had sort of gotten into the passing game while Tolbert and Matthews were dealing with the run game for the most part. Not actually what happened. He had 1 carry for 3 yards and 1 reception for 6 yards. That was it. So if you bought into the sleeper PPR hype, sorry dudes, that did not work out for you. However, as a segue to my bonus, San Diego does get mad props for who did show up. I'm gonna butcher his name, Seyi Ajeritutu. So let's just call him Tutu, right? So Tutu, oh my goodness, he was fantastic. Now, I don't know if he's gonna have like long-lasting fantasy appeal because Malcolm Floyd, who he is essentially replacing, does come back in week 11, but still, he certainly proved that he can show up when it matters. 4 receptions for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. If you played him, what crystal ball do you have, and may I borrow it? All right. Also, I'm going to do a second bonus because it was so awesome. Randy McMichael, the 9-year vet, showing that he can still be counted on in replacement for Antonio Gates. 2 receptions for 23 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. Again, he only caught the ball twice, but he made each time count. Wow, wow, wow. San Diego, that was an exciting, exciting game. I love seeing new players emerge or older players reemerge. It's great. So anyway, that's Bust, Bombs, and Bonuses. I'll be back with 1 for the money, 2 for the show, and 3 to let go. Hope you guys won all of your fantasy matches on Sunday and Monday, and I'll see you soon.